It's Vet Talk with Nick Paro and Frederic Poag over on Banner and Backbone with a special guest today, Evan Fields, who is one of the Lincoln Project folks. He is an Army veteran, um, as am I. So we've got two Army vets and a Marine vet today. We're taking over the Cran Eaters for once, and we're not letting him win. But it's
Y'all
great to
ain't
have
getting
you
none of
with
my
us.
crayons. You should have brought your own, bro. Like that's all I'm telling you. You know.
I'll look, I mean, you might get a crayon birthday present this year or a birthday cake.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
I know your favorite color is blue. So
It is. It's navy blue.
navy
Yep.
blue too. Those
That's
Marines,
it.
gotta love them Navy boys.
Well, it's man, listen, you always love mom who gives you a ride everywhere. Like, I mean, it's
No,
man,
that's true.
yeah. So it's like you gotta appreciate mom.
Yeah.
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 So good morning, Evan. Let's if you could, do you mind introducing yourself to the folks in the chat?
Yeah.
And we'll
What's
get
going
going.
on, guys? I am Evan. I am, as Nick said, I'm an Army veteran, just a regular dude. I originally joined the Army 2013. I was up in Fort Wainwright, Alaska, just a boring Army career, fucked over by the man, a couple of injuries and stuff like that. I never did deploy over to the Middle East or anything. I kind of joined, I guess, the wrong time for that. But I got to do some cool things in the Army. We got to do some Pacific Pathways trips over to Japan and South Korea and do some training with them and stuff. And then I came out here to Fort Carson, ended up getting medically discharged. And like I'm sure you guys did when you got out, I freaked the fuck out and didn't know what to do with myself. I worked for a little bit and I decided to go back to school. So I got my undergrad in English and then decided, I got really into government and everything and politics a little bit before COVID, but COVID kind of really set it off. During the Trump administration, just how they handled everything, I wanted to get more involved. And I saw kind of first thing how things were going in the Army. I saw how it affected soldiers and stuff that way with his administration. And that got me kind of politically more involved. So I did my graduate degree. I got my master's in public administration, and I was planning on, doing what a lot of ex-military people do is going back into public service. And I was going to go the DoD route. That's what my parents did and everything. But unfortunately, Trump got elected again, and then they burned everything to the ground with Doge. And it was kind of like I was in that weird position where I had just graduated and I was getting ready to like look into public service and go back to serving the government and stuff. And I was really excited about it and really hopeful for the Harris administration, like what that was going to bring. And I got thrown for a fucking loop on November 5th, just like everybody else. And it was kind of like, oh shit, well, what do I do now? Because I'm not going to serve this administration. I'm not going to be a part of that or anything. And I kind of just tried to make it for myself. So I looked around and looked at the people that I admired, like as far as like the media and stuff goes. I did a little bit of writing and things like that, and got encouraged from family members. And Rick Wilson was like the guy that the entire time I started following politics was kind of like, this dude's got balls. You know what I mean? He's not afraid to call these Republicans cucks and like say it how it is, kind of. And I like the ads that the Lincoln Project was doing. So I searched and I scoured and I found his email address online, and I reached out to him and I just went for it. You know what I mean? I was like, hey,
Hmm.
I'm just a regular dude, but I give a shit about this country. I love the people that I served with. I want my fellow veterans to be okay. And I think that people like us need a voice and like need somebody to hear like exactly what's going on and how we live and the things that we go through and stuff like that. And he kind of, I don't know if he gets a lot of that, I think. And he gets a lot of people reaching out to him like, hey, I got something to say. You know what I mean? Like, I got to say
Yeah.
it. It took a while before he was finally like, oh, this guy's like for real. He's cares about this shit and stuff like that. And he became kind of a mentor to me. And eventually that led to doing some writing for Lincoln Square and stuff. And, just trying to get myself out there and meet people like you guys and do exactly what you guys are doing here with Vet Talk and stuff. And because I think that that's the most important thing. And that's like the foundation of like what we're trying to do here is just like allow normal people to have a voice. You know what I mean? Because it
Mhm.
gets covered through the mainstream media and stuff like that. And the story gets watered down and they don't really know what it's like for people on the ground or what just people are dealing with every day. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do here. And I'm trying to meet guys like you and just do the right thing and fight for our country.
good. I
Yeah.
love it. That's the whole point of what we're doing. That's why Frederic, Poag, and I, and Lawrence Winterman founded Banner and Backbone. Is it's a civics-based network, and we do the vet talks, we do Ellie's exclusives, which are investigative journalist pieces. We are uplifting powerful voices for survivors of trauma, and we're doing civic series tomorrow. We've got Melissa Corrigan, who's going to be coming from DC for Constitution Day, and speaking about the new papers that she's been writing and her vision of what a good America could look like. So it's great that you guys, one, that you're in this area with us.
Yeah, for sure.
And I I don't know if you've been in longer than us or less time than us, but I don't really care because I'm just glad we're in the space together. Like that's the big thing is there's so much space on this side that we're fighting over that we shouldn't be because there's a million voices for a million issues that can be said a million different ways and hit 10 million ears within minutes. Um,
Exactly. And you don't get that on the news. You know what I mean? You
No.
don't get these like 1 to 2 minute segments where you might get a general talking about like what's going on in Venezuela right now. And you're not really getting like what the details and what's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. And that's why I like these sort of long form discussions and stuff and what you guys are doing. It really helps to like flesh that out for people and they're getting more out of discussions on Substack than they're ever going to get like from mainstream media.
yeah,
And
so go ahead, Fred.
no, it's interesting, man, because like you mentioned your journey, right? And I went through the same thing where except I was in 2012, sequestration happened, and I was going to be a security analyst at the Department of the Navy.
Hmm.
Boehner cut that stuff under Obama, and I'm like, all right, well that's done. And I eventually went into aviation, and I was looking forward to, you know, basically working for the Obama administration when I got out, the tail end of it. Couldn't do it. And I was hopeful for the Harris administration. I was actually, before I started doing this, I was thinking of transitioning out of digital media. And I was like, well, if Harris wins, I'm going to go see if I can go get work, put my operations management background, get back into government, and try to get back into public service. Squash that, you
Yep.
know, done.
Yep.
I was
Nope
like, and here I
joined
am.
right at the top at the right moment while you were saying that is somebody named Nope joined. And yeah, nope. You don't get that when we go back to regressive fascists. So I want to get your thoughts because you brought up something was Venezuela. And I sort of titled this episode Escalating, or I think it is escalating I forget, fuck, I don't even know the name of it.
Escalating
um
engagements. There we go.
Escalating engagements. Thank you. Sorry, I have fibro, so I will lose shit
You're good,
without
man.
anything that's happening. Escalating threats right now are Venezuela,
Yeah.
and what's happening in Venezuela. And it was reported yesterday or the day before that we sunk another Venezuelan ship and killed three more people.
And
Um,
more.
what are your thoughts on that, especially as a veteran and someone who works with a lot of other veterans right now too? What are your thoughts and what are you hearing about like this escalation of force?
I saw the I saw the reports on that yesterday as far as the boat strike with the three extra people and it's I don't even know what to say because it's just blatant disregard of the rules of engagement, any escalatory measures, just bypassing Congress. Um, I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think about it, man. Like, what are we supposed to be doing right now? We just got out of a 20-plus year war and everything. We're supposed to be doing things like training at home and like standing up troops and doing training exercises and focusing on like readiness and things like that. And we're bombing boats off the coast of Venezuela and the Caribbean and things like that. Like, it just shows the incompetence of leadership. There's a couple different ways that you can look at it. As far as like you look at the leadership, the incompetence on the top to do something like that, to just bypass Congress and do these military strikes. But there's also the frustration of like, what is our standing in the world? What are we doing right now? While people like China are building a massive fleet and preparing forces for Taiwan, there's other escalations going on in Ukraine and stuff like that. And we're just indiscriminately bombing other countries.
Yeah.
I don't see any rhyme or reason to it other than distractions or talking points. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to create another war on drugs here? Is that what we're trying to do?
I I honestly think, to be honest, because I don't catastrophize anymore, but I do believe that if the administration can do the worst thing, they're going to do it or they're going to try it. And this reeks of Stephen Miller, because
Yeah.
he fantasizes about bombing Mexico and inciting a race war, and a consolidation of power. Because I think the end goal here, because they're amassing the Navy in the Caribbean, like they've
Mhm.
moved fleets into the Caribbean, and that's not by accident. And it's not a war on drugs because, again, DHS is not the Navy. Like that's a huge thing too. Because I saw some stuff coming out of DHS yesterday about the
Mhm.
bombing. Um, do you think that's appropriate that DHS is advertising hate as, I mean, propaganda and hate as normal messaging? And what do you think we can keep doing to fighting back against it?
We have to call out that messaging. You know what I mean? Because it does nothing but spread xenophobia and things like that. And it goes back to that anti-immigrant rhetoric and behavior and everything. Like you said, Stephen Miller behind it. And we just have to call it out for what it is. And
Right.
that hateful bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so thinking about hateful bullshit, building on this a little bit, I know we were talking just before the show about the Senate hearing that's going on right now, with Kash Patel,
Mm.
who does a lot of snuffling and evades a lot of answers, and the glasses don't make him look smart. It's just easier to see how high he looks, because it focuses his eyeballs. So it's not doing much for you, Cash. What do you, I when I left, I had just been listening to Senator Ted Cruz putting
Mm.
on this monologue about how it's leftist fault that this happened, and he brought up that it was a trans roommate and partner maybe and some other bullshit, and how they're crafting now what it sounds like crafting a conspiracy of trans chat rooms to do everything except for blame the groups that are responsible for this. Who do you see as being responsible for this type of action?
Immediately, it's the president and the Republicans and their rhetoric surrounding the whole thing. Um, I mean, the gross hypocrisy of it just really is what pisses me off, because if you can tear it apart, because if you're going to say that this is a trans issue, let's play with that, play devil's advocate for a second. If you're saying that this is a trans issue and trans people having guns are killing people or whatever the imaginary conspiracy is that they're throwing out there, we're sitting over here on the left, like, all right, if you want to say that, we've been calling for healthcare forever. Like, let's address it that way. If you're saying it's a mental health problem, let's get people healthcare, and mental health care comes along with that. If you want to address it from that side, do something about it. But you don't want to do that. You just want to play the rhetoric, and you want to pick this marginalized group of people that, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't have a large way to defend themselves. You know what I mean? So they're an easy
Mhm.
target, and we can deflect blame over here and say trans people are shooting everybody because it's an easy target for them without addressing the real issues. And the real issues are the hateful rhetoric that we're seeing at home from this administration, the dehumanization of people. I mean, we saw, I think it was during the election that he said that these people are infecting the blood of our country. And it's just, but the hate is behind everything that they're doing. It's hate for anything that's other. It's blame for anything that's other. And instead of addressing the real issues and things that we could do that I think that anybody and everybody supports through actual policy measures, you know what I mean? Like red flag laws that addresses both mental health
Mhm.
and gun control. You know what I mean? There are common sense things that we can do to address these things that aren't being done. And when you have rhetoric like's going on, and it has to be Stephen Miller behind all of it. We've seen all the hateful videos and his interviews and stuff like that, so you know where it's coming from. And I just I don't know the answer other than us just waiting it out and trying to retake Congress next year. You know what I mean? Because that's when we can actually make some policy enactments, and we can actually get some control over like what DHS is doing and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of have to just wear the punches right now and speak out as much as we can against this administration and their rhetoric and what they're doing. And I don't know, man, there's protests and everything coming up. I think that's another big one too, is we've got to get a lot more people out in the streets. I think that that's going to be the big thing coming up, is we've got to almost double the size of the No Kings protests, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think like I think this is a lot of concern that people are having is is there going to be elections in 2026? I think there are going to be. Now they're going to do everything they can to disrupt to voter suppress and all that other stuff. And I mean, and so, and I think we're seeing this also in a way with all the stuff with Charlie Kirk and trying to suppress, um, like opposition voices
Mhm.
that are saying now. And that's why I think the Lincoln Project, Lincoln Square, and Rick Wilson are really important to this. Like, what are some of the ways that you think that you know like one thing I'm trying to do is I wrote about two ETSU professors, my alma mater, who were placed on administrative leave for basically voicing things about Charlie Kirk on their own public social media. In fact, the mayor of Washington County, Tennessee, came out and demanded they resigned. So what are some of the things that we can do as say ordinary, like just everyday Americans, to help push back and support people that are under this? Like I know Fox News talked about a colonel at the Pentagon that they're demanding be fired because I think it was he said something publicly about Charlie Kirk that wasn't even close to this. So what do you think are some of the things we could do, like just to do general pushback or have these people's back?
I think that honestly, I've been doing Substack and stuff less than a year, so I'm pretty still new and trying to figure out that in my own way, like how to because I know that you guys probably feel the frustration too, is that you want to get your voice out there, and like, that we're saying the right thing. And I think that like supporting each other and sharing independent voices and things like that, I think that getting those voices out there and people that are drawing attention to these issues, I think that if everybody in the chat can share like across social media and things like that, I think independent media is one of the biggest things that we can do right now to address these problems, that we can use to get our voices out there, that we can use to put pressure on elected officials and the media. I think that it's boring, it's frustrating, it's
Mhm.
ugly
Yeah.
government work, but call your elected representatives, leave them voicemails. I know that they don't call back, I know they don't answer emails, things like that, but their staffers hear it and their staffers let them know. We have to call them and we have to put pressure on them and let them know exactly how the public is feeling. um, Reach out to Democratic leadership. I think that that's the biggest thing right now, where people's anxieties are coming from, is that the leadership of the Democratic Party doesn't feel like they necessarily have our back. It feels like people like us are building the new coalition that we're going to
Yep.
have for next year and for 2028. And I feel like it's more of like a populist, probably a little more to the left than we usually are.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can just get the leadership to listen to us and just get them to, if we can just light a fire under their ass to do something and to fight for us. I love, 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 love what Graham Plattner's doing right now. I think that that dude is speaking out in the right way and calling out things that he's seeing. And I think I put it in a piece that I wrote. I forget which one it was, but I was like last week that I said that we want politicians who are going to recognize what's happening to us and call it out and say who it's benefiting. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's all we want right now.
Yeah.
That's
And
all.
it's that easy. Like James
Mhm.
Tallarico, somebody just put in James Tallarico is a great example of someone who's
Exactly.
working for people and wants to work because of the people. Um, what do you think is a good way that people can continue to support? I know, like, continue to like get more involved in the local spaces, because for us, that's one of the big things is pushing towards like local involvement. National involvement comes from local involvement. What do you think are some good ways people can do that, or how are you finding ways that you can do that yourself?
I'm glad you asked. I did my I actually did my master's thesis on access to municipal meetings and by like government type. So you have a strong mayor, forms of municipal government. You got all these, you got five different types of municipal governments, and they all function in different ways and everything. And I looked at like how city size, how everything affects your access to those meetings and what those meetings are exactly. So, public meetings, city council meetings, the boring ones about like local commissions, things like that, like the most boring local thing that you can get are going to directly affect your life in the most meaningful way. So like the potholes, local enforcement issues, how local police are dealing with people during traffic stops, things like that. You need to show up to those meetings. I know it's boring. You're going to run into people that you don't like, that you don't agree with. You're going to run into ignorant people that are going to spout off conspiracy theories in those meetings. But I promise you, if you go in there prepared and go up and stand in front of those people with a like reasoned discussion, they're going to listen to you. And if you put pressure on local government to do things, you're going to start seeing those changes. And when those changes get, like you guys said, when those changes get enacted on the local level, then it carries up. They start to get more notice and everything. And then the congressmen start to take notice, and then things start to change. You know what I mean? So going to those meetings, going to those city council meetings, using your voice that way, even protesting things that you see going on in your community, not just national issue, not just waiting for the No Kings protests, but like if you see ICE in your community, show up and protest that. You know what I mean? Protest it to your local government, because they're the ones that are allowing the feds to come in and police your streets, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
and that makes no sense. Like, also, one of the things, like right now, too, I know a good group is Indivisible.
Mhm.
Indivisible, sorry, to be clear and enunciate that for everybody in the chat. Indivisible is a great organization to um, look into and be a part of. From a veteran's side, though, Evan, I don't know if you're familiar or work with them at all, is do you know much about Common Defense?
I do
And
not.
I would suggest you look into them. I joined the Common Defense
Uh,
group just as a member, and it's a lot of very similar minded, just like we are, very veteran heavy or focus on veteran issues. They have a full like Slack channel and group where there's communication spaces where people can actually start talking to each other. Um, so I think would you because you said your master's thesis was on like local organization and
Mhm.
and these meetings and how to use what sounds like how to use civics to like how to be civically engaged and the importance of civic engagement. Um, do you think encouraging these groups that are nonpartisan to show up or come as members of these groups, if they're able to, um, and advocate for things in a nonpartisan way? Because it's not about partisan politics right now. It's for me, it's not Republican versus Democrat. It is fascist versus constitutionalists. Like, do you want the Constitution or do you want to be under fascism? Um, do you think, especially with the potential crackdowns that are going to be coming on left-wing organizations for, somehow not being associated with Charlie Kirk's death, but being blamed for it and used as a tool for crackdowns? How do you think actually, the better question is, how do you think people should prepare themselves for crackdowns on civil liberties, um, and potential use of law enforcement against them for their free speech?
the first thing to address, I think that what you said as far as like these nonpartisan groups, I think that those are a great thing right now. And I need to be better. I need to join and be better about like being involved in those kind of groups because I think what we're missing as a society, especially among men and young men, is those third spaces where we have that sort of communication and that support with each other and everything. I think that that's a great idea. What you said about those kind of independent, nonpartisan groups showing up to the protests and protesting some of these things that are like just basic civil injustices that I think both sides can agree on. I think that kind of almost de-weaponizes, like takes the anger out of the other side, like the police's eyes, because they're not looking at us as like, oh, this is a group of leftists. You know what I mean? If there's a veterans group at one of those protests, those people are going to be less likely to engage in the kind of brutality going after free speech and things like that. I think that protests are not inherently partisan, but it's usually one side protesting against the administration that's in power right now. I think that as much as we can to keep things nonpartisan and on the issue, you know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
wearing Bernie shirts or something to a protest about like immigrants and things like that. I think that that kind of relieves the tension going into things to where it kind of like takes the anger and resentment away from the police and the federal officials and stuff like that, that we're kind of like, we're here just to use our voice and showing them that we're there just to practice our First Amendment rights.
Yeah, and so one of those things that I also preach in this or that I talk about is bring American flags to protests. If you're
Yeah.
going to protest, bring an American flag, wear something very patriotic looking. What are they going to do? Tell a whole bunch of Americans waving American flags that they can't protest in America? Like, get
And that's the
fucked.
last thing they want on the front page of the news or the first blurb on Morning Joe is cops attacking somebody with an American flag. That's something they know that the Democrats could use that in the midterms and it would destroy them. So they're not going to come after people holding American flags. And that's one of the big things that Rick's been saying too, I think, since this new administration came in, is that we have to take the American flag back from these fuckers. Like, you don't get to enact fascism and authoritarianism and take over our country. That's the flag of the people. You know what I mean? That's our flag. That's not the White House's flag. That's ours. And I think that we have to take it back and show pride in our country and show pride in like a new way of our country, and we have to adopt that, you know what I mean? And I think people start to get on board with a better form of patriotism. And I think especially right after 9/11, man, I was reading the poem about I miss 9/12, like when the stores sold out of American flags and we were just like, you just felt it, you know what I mean? And I think that if we can move on and move away from them and adopt the flag and use that as a source of power for us, especially during protests, I think that that's going to be a big turning point for the public and being able to use their voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to clarify before you jump in, Fred. There was a comment that said, "So I can't wear a Rainbow Coalition T-shirt." No, that's not what I said, man. I said, bring American flags and bring patriotic shit. If your Rainbow Coalition shirt is patriotic, make sure what you're wearing also, or what you're bringing also includes the American flag. Don't bring other countries' flags. Even if you are very prideful of your heritage, you're showing up as an American. That's what you're protesting is for America, not for other countries right now. And I understand that that feels like it minimizes them, but it does not. You're here to protest for America so that the people that are from these other countries, these folks who are coming here, give us you're tired, you're sick, you're poor, you're weak. If we want to be a Christian nation, then we need to adopt Christian values. Like these are Christian values, and I'm not Christian. I'm not advocating for a Christian nation. I'm just saying if we want to call ourselves one, we should be one. But bring your flags, be as patriotic as possible, because it's not the protest that you're going to isn't protesting for gay rights specifically. It's protesting for your freedoms and your liberties and your access to have the basic ability to even question to have those rights. So it's not, it's taking a step back from labeling ourselves and saying we're Americans and that's it. Like somebody asked me what my heritage was the other day, and I said, I'm an American. I have other heritage from other cultures, but I'm an American.
Exactly.
I have been in America since our family has been here before the Civil War, before the country was America.
Right.
So I'm American as I can get. Like,
Mhm.
don't tread on me, fuckers. Snack, and you're eating each other. Um, so I say some of this because I like bringing some fun into it and like bringing the joy and like humor because we have to laugh. At least in my opinion, we have to laugh at them and
Yeah.
we have to bring mockery to a bully. And I know you're part of Lincoln Square. And I know something Rick Wilson does is really well is bringing mockery towards these people. Um, and do you think, or how do you plan to use that? And like that sort of, these sort of tools to not just attack and say what we're against, but to then flip the conversation and change how we word things or discuss things. Because you were talking about civics and the importance. How do you reframe that argument using these attacks and establishing what we're for?
That is a good question, and the one that Democrats can't seem to figure out. I, as much as he bugs me sometimes, I think that Gavin Newsom and his press team are doing an amazing job of taking the game away from them and weaponizing it against them and mocking them that way, like mocking the ridiculousness of Trump's Truth Social posts. I think that that way of like playing the mockery against while also try like getting your views and your policy points out there, I think that that's a good way. Take their game away from them, you know, punch the bully in the mouth and let them like.
Yeah.
One of my big things is I'm sick and tired of being the vulnerable one. I want the
Yeah.
Democrats to punch the bully in the mouth and be the protector. I know I'm getting in the little weeds a little bit here, but like when you're a young man, you look at that strong man and you think like, oh, that's the tough guy, like the bully, whatever. Like he's the top tier guy. But when you get older, or at least when I've gotten older, and you start to learn empathy and caring for other people and other people's struggle, and you learn that true strength is in protecting people. And I think that if we take that bully mentality away from them and we use it to stand up for people, that I think that that's what I want to see from Democrats. That's what I think that takes their power away from them when they can bully
Yeah.
marginalized groups and they can put them in a position to where they feel like they can't fight back and they have nobody to fight for them. And I think that's kind of Democrats have been beaten into submission over these last 10 years. They've been bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied, and they don't feel like they're just getting their lunch money taken every day. And we need somebody to stand up and fight back and take that from them. And I've talked to Rick about it before. Like, why can't you just run the DNC? Why can't you do the mess? You've got to know somebody. You've got to be able to get in.
No,
Like, dude, I've
no.
been trying forever. And you want some balls behind the messaging. You know what I mean? And women can
Actually,
have balls too.
I want more of a, I want pussy behind the messaging because that shit can take a pounding and then it pushes out a baby. Balls, you touch them and we fall over. Like,
Yeah.
let's have some women, let's have some women's gumption behind this because most of the best things that we've ever seen come out of like people who are attacking things in positive ways. Like the best examples we have, at least in my mind, are Jasmine Crockett, AOC.
Mhm.
Those two ladies come at it and they're not afraid to attack. They're not afraid to say what is meant and meaningfully and articulate it eloquently while also getting their point across. Do you what do you think of like the space that we're in because we're men, we're white dudes,
Mhm.
and um, we're filling a void of masculinity. To shift just a little bit, is do you think we can take some lessons from these powerful women and powerful voices out there and start owning unabashedly our manhood as progressive or just more constitutionally minded men who have values and take it on an ethical and moral level rather than a political level?
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the biggest responsibilities that we have in doing this. I think that young men are fucking lost right now. They don't have good role models. And I think what we can do is be the best example and lead by example for other people. What I think that we can take away from people like AOC and Jasmine Crockett is like what I said, that we need to be protectors. And as men with privilege and white men who have access to have a voice and stuff like that, we have to stand up for those marginalized groups. And we have to, because if we don't stand up for those people, if we don't stand up for the LGBTQ community, if we don't stand up for veterans who are homeless and struggling and don't know what to do and don't have a path forward, if we can't stand up for people of color and immigrants and stuff like that, then who the fuck is going to stand up for us when fascism eventually comes to our door? And I think that right now that there's a lot of lost young men without opportunity, and they're falling into that strongman thing where they see the bullies at the top of the heap and they see everything that they're getting away with, and they see them making all this money and unheard of amounts of wealth and things like that, and they're drawn to that. But I think that we can be the example of empathy and kindness and strength through caring about people and uh just a populist stance about like progressive issues. And I think that that goes back to Graham Plattner. I think that he's doing a great job of not necessarily like being, he's kind of like middle of the road, but he's populist and he like wants like working class people to be okay and things like that. And I think that that kind of messaging is what we need from men, especially white men right now. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I've seen some numbers the other day that the black community that they have the highest number ever of fathers in the home and being present and everything. So the Black community, Black men are stepping up and they're doing their part to fix past problems and everything like that that affected their community. And I think that as white men, we've gotten really lazy about, as a whole, we've gotten really lazy
Yeah.
about falling into the easy, you know what I mean? And we need to be disciplined. Go back to the army, be disciplined in the way that we act and the way that we treat people. And I think that that's what we start with, just being an example of that. And that's what.
It, it's funny, you know, the things I say nowadays, like to young men, I sound like an old school conservative in the sense of, because it's like nobody, you know, these they parrot this stuff where it's like no one owes you anything. Well, why do you guys walk around like the world owes you something? That women owe you something, right? That you're just owed a position or you're just owed this, you know, and you're blaming people that have nothing to do with the predicament you're in. You're blaming immigrants, you're blaming feminists, you're blaming, you know, LGBTQ. You're blaming all these other people except the people at the top who you want to emulate that are causing these problems. And so what ends up so just be honest with yourself is you just want power without having to do any responsibility for it.
And
You
that's
just want to be catered to
in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just want to be catered to without having to do anything to earn it.
exactly.
You know, and again, I sound like an old school conservative, right? It's just, you know, there's no, because again, that party's lost personal accountability. They've lost personal responsibility. It's not there anymore. You can't tell me that Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and JD Vance are all about personal accountability and responsibility.
No.
Come on, man.
They
Yeah.
think it's their
And so
job to
it's
decide as a white man.
right.
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
the epitome of DEI.
Yeah,
the epitome
exactly.
of it.
That's the thing, is they want to root out. They're so lazy and so incompetent. They have to root out any form of competition in order for them to live up to what they're saying that they are. They have
Yeah.
to get everybody else out of the way so that they can get into that position. But what they don't realize is that they make society weaker when they do shit like that. When we
Yep.
don't have diversity. The army and the military is the greatest example. And I never truly realized it until I met so many people from so many different backgrounds. And as much as I hate the army sometimes, it's one of the most beautiful things about it. Is I grew up in a small town in California. You look back now and they're all fucking Trump supporters and everything. It's like a small little farming town on the Central Coast. And when you're in a small town, there's a small town mindset. Everybody's like you and everybody's the same, and it's always going to be this way. And then you join the military, and there's so many people from so many backgrounds, and you see it combine into this fighting force. And you see skinny little nerdy kids and like kids who were high school football stars and all that stuff. And that's what makes the military as great as it is that everybody's coming together and nobody gives a shit about who you are, what you do at home. We're just there to accomplish the mission and work hard and be there for each other. And I think that that's what we need to be as Americans and what we need to teach young men, that strength is in diversity, you know? Strength isn't in the fucking clan. That's not going to make us better people.
That's
It's
not
only
strength.
force our own ignorant ideas, you know?
Well, it's these guys that get caught up in this incel and this black pill nonsense, right? And so then you're heading in, they're telling you, what is it? Oh, there's no hope. Be angry. And it's like, dude, you are not special in the sense of, oh, you're having trouble with women. Get in line. Like I did too when I was coming up, right? Oh, you know, like the older generation is holding you down. Yeah, so did I. But you can change it. You need to get outside and, to your point, get around some other people who are not like you. Try to talk to some women instead of, you know, thinking you have it all figured out, because guess what? You don't, because you didn't earn it. Some guy came along and sold you a lie and you thought, well, I got it figured out. No, man, you're just gullible.
Mhm.
That's it. And that's the hard truth of it is they keep telling you, oh, go to the gym, go to the gym. Take your ass to the library and read some books, bro.
Mhm.
You know, get educated. There's a reason that people like Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes and Laura Loomer, and they all disrespect higher education. I just saw something with Peter Thiel who was like, oh, well, he gave these budding entrepreneurs 200,000. They left college. So why do we need college? Gee, I don't know. Because all these billionaires got rich from the tech and the R&D that came out of public universities. Maybe
Mhm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the message we need to be sending is like, you want to be part of society. And if you want to be part of the society, it comes with, you have to give and fight for other people's space to exist and to express themselves. Because if you don't
Exactly.
do that, it's not about, it's because again, Charlie Kirk was a bastion for free speech. Yeah, he's a horrible human being. How dare you say that? You should be fired. Come on, man.
Bastion of
Where's
free
that free
speech,
speech
right?
warrior? Where were you? Where'd you go?
Exactly. And
And it's to your point about Democrats needing to be tough. We automatically accept right-wing framing, and we try to think we're smart enough to argue within that framing, that we're going to convince them, that we're going to bring them to our side. No, man, they're just trying to get you to have the argument they want. Have the argument you want. Don't accept their framing. It's one of the things Rick Wilson and the Lincoln Project is great at. They don't accept right-wing framing.
No.
They say, nope, this is it. You don't make civility the highest cultural value. That's what'll get us destroyed and our democracy ruined. Make justice the highest cultural value. Make truth the highest cultural value. Make standing on business of the Constitution in this country our highest cultural value. That's what we mean by look, man, you want to wear a pride shirt? Yes. You want to bring your flag of your heritage? Yes. Bring an American flag too. It's a yes and proposition, right?
Yeah.
This is your country. This is our country. Don't let part of what they do and why they want to control patriotism and take it all for themselves is they want to seem like we're outside of it. We're not outside of it. We're part of we the people. Don't be afraid to say that. Push on that. I'm here too. I'm here to take up space. It's not all about you and freaking Christo-fascism. That's not what we're founded on. That's not what we're about. That's my stump speech.
We need Democrats to take up space. I think that's
Yes,
what we need.
100%.
And like you said about colleges and universities, that Charlie Kirk, they made a run on it. When I was in college, when I got out of the army, you would see little shits like trying to record professors and stuff like that. And,
Oh
like,
God, yeah, we had that too.
And Democrats need to get out there and they need to teach young men that like all these things that you're looking for are found in higher education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to meet women. Where else are you going to meet women that at frat parties and on the college campus and stuff like that?
Bro, if your masculinity is so fragile, you can't handle women deciding their own way and being strong and independent, your masculinity is weak, bro. If you can't
you ain't got
handle
none.
LGBTQ people or trans folks existing and taking up space, your masculinity is weak, bro. And that's how we need to talk to these people. Like, that's how it's okay to talk to these young men that way.
We
It
need
is
to
okay.
remind people that fake performative patriotism is eagle jizz.
Eagle jizz. That's all it is.
And it's fucking gross, which you can soon find on the eaglejizz.com website, which will be the merch store for Banner and Backbone.
What
Soon
we
to
want
come.
from you, bro, just give us a number and we will send the entire Lincoln Project team.
Well, I just want to, we just want to know where to
mugs.
send an Eagle Jizz mug or two.
Yeah. Where
and
can
them
we
on
send the Eagle
y'all's
Jizz mugs?
shows.
Where can we send the Eagle Jizz mugs to? Like,
I'll get in contact with them. I'll get you an address.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because we've already got
early Christmas presents for the whole team.
Yeah, we've already got fans who are buying the Eagle Jizz mugs, and
oh my God, that's so good.
That was basically it was a phrase we came up with where it was just, You know,
Should we do
it's
this?
like,
Should
it's
we do it?
basically, just think of American flag Speedos, right? That's the
Mhm.
unnecessary patriotic empty performance. It's just eagle jizz.
It's
That's all
so
it
much
is.
better than MAGA tears. MAGA
That's
tears
Yes.
was like a
it's
one
just,
for a while. Eagle jizz is
that's
that's
it. And so,
And it's sticky and it's white and it's filled with a lot of white hate and it's
I
gross and
love
it
it.
gets all over you and it takes a long time to get it off of you. Like you gotta fucking wash it all the way off. This white hate and eagle jizz is just
got to get that
flowing.
Brillo pad, man.
You
It
gotta
don't, it get
scrub
off you.
that shit off.
It'll get off. But here's
We're
the
gonna have
thing.
to dove everybody on the way out.
I was in the Marine Corps Reserves, you know, and I also was in aviation. I worked in 4 different hubs. I've literally managed thousands of young men, most because it was heavily male dominated industry. There were women in it, but I've managed and led thousands of young men, men of all ages. I know how to talk. I know how to talk to men. And I'm telling you now, be direct,
Hmm.
be specific, but be truthful, right?
And don't
You
lie.
could be kind, you could coach them. You know, it doesn't have to be. I'm not talking about like toxic masculinity, but there's a lot of times, man. You know, young men will say something, you know, racist, or they'll say something, you know, misogynistic. I'll be like, yeah, man, that's not cool.
Yeah,
I ain't about that. You
call
need
it
to
out
not
when
be
it
about
fucking
that either,
happens.
brother. That's we need to go a different way with that. That's wrong. And it's fine. Men need to say that, especially to younger men, because younger men are looking for men to lead them. And
Exactly.
if
Yes.
you cede that ground, and if you're not that guy, they will find it elsewhere. And they'll go to Andrew Tate, they'll go to Joe Rogan, they'll go to freaking Donald Trump, they'll go to Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk and all that. And those people, they're not an example of what manhood should be.
They're just immature dickheads that are going to reinforce that hate. And I think those young men that are saying the ignorant and stupid shit like that, I don't think that they're necessarily ignorant or stupid or racist. I think that they're trying to appeal to authority and trying to
Yeah.
appeal
They're young and scared.
some
They're
sort
young
of
Yeah.
and scared.
masculinity. And if they are corrected about those things, then I think it corrects that behavior and then we don't have to deal with it down the line.
And you can do so much, man. Just eating out in public as a man.
Mhm.
And here's the thing: look, I'm not saying that you got to be like me. You don't. I'm straight. You know, I'm heteronormative. I'm cisgender. I'm a white man. I'm progressive. I'm liberal. Sure, but that doesn't mean if you're bi, you're trans, you're whatever, right? Because damn it, one of the reasons that I believe in and I served is there's enough space for everybody in this country to express who they are and have the freedom to do it without oppression and without fear. And that's the society I want to live in, you know? And so when you stand up for that, when you check these people that are saying, you know, this horrendous stuff, you make a difference. And you do it every day. I did it when I was a leader, you know,
Mhm.
in aviation. I did it every day, you know. And it's just those little moments. It could be just like you're in the grocery store and someone's acting up, and you just go, "Hey, man, we ain't about that. We ain't
And
about
I
that."
promise you'll feel so much better about yourself. You'll get so much more confidence in yourself as a man. Like, hey, I can do this. I can stand up for other people. I can call that dude out because he's acting fucking ignorant. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And other men see that and they go, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. And
that's what you're supposed to do.
it has
And
this
there's a reason I'm
cascading
not
effect.
mentioning women. There's a reason I'm not mentioning women. They're doing enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Black folks are doing enough.
Yep.
LGBTQ are doing enough. White men need to do more. We're not doing enough.
Exactly.
We need to do more. We're not doing enough. You know, and it's not a racial thing. I'm telling you that it's the facts. It's just straight facts. We're not doing enough because we have these problems, and where are they coming from? White folks at the top, mainly white men, upholding the patriarchy and Christo-fascism. We're not doing enough. We don't have the people's backs that are out here. We got to do more. That's just the bottom line. That's the
You
hard
see it
truth.
through
We got to do more.
society and the media and stuff. All you see now is just white men, white shows. It's all hee haw, this and that on Netflix and everything. The laziness has created this culture of like conformability to just ignorance. And you're right, calling it out and leading on the spot and doing on the spot corrections and making people better in front of you in your daily life and showing them that us as white dudes with privilege can fucking stand up for other people and it's okay and you will feel better about yourself for doing it. I think that that's where the change comes from. And I know that we're going to do it. We have to encourage other people to do it, but we also have to encourage the people in like positions of power to do it. And I
Yes.
get on them.
Yes.
You need to get on every fucking white dude in Congress. Like, hey, you need to talk to these guys. Like, what's the senator's name from Connecticut? Chris Murphy, I think is his name.
Oh, yeah.
He's like one of the big guys right now that's kind of a leading voice. And
Yeah.
guys
Chris
like
Murphy's-
that, like, get out there, make it okay,
Yeah.
stand up for people.
And the thing is, you know, to paraphrase Marcus Aurelius, when it comes to this in citizenship, is you could be a good man today, but yet instead you choose tomorrow.
Mhm.
Be a good citizen today. Be a
Exactly.
brave American today. Don't wait till tomorrow. This is a life, and it's a lifelong commitment. Democracy and being an American is a lifelong commitment. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Do it every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so we only got a couple
You can
minutes
tell
left
we're
with
all
you.
veterans.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got a couple minutes left with you, and I got to keep you all, and I want to keep on the hour because I actually have an appointment half an hour from now that I want to get prepped for. Because I go to therapy every week, which I highly encourage people to do too.
Yay for the VA.
I do. Yeah, I'm a privileged American because I have VA healthcare that provides me mental health services, which is the saddest statement I have to say, is that I feel privileged to be
Isn't
a
that crazy?
disabled veteran who gets healthcare and mental health services. It should be a right for everyone. Like,
And
there's
Seriously,
the
man.
difference between
have
us
access to
and them.
healthcare, go to therapy. You will feel better, I promise.
You will. You will. So I want to give you a minute here to sell yourself, tell people where they can find you, what you do, how they can reach you. I know it's hard to sell yourself sometimes, but sell yourself. Let everybody in the audience know where they can find you if they haven't already subscribed.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Substack at News from Underground. I run the News from Underground Substack. I'm a contributing writer for Lincoln Square. So I do the Fourth and Democracy newsletter that comes out every Tuesday. So go check that out. You can follow me on Instagram and Threads at Evan Fields NFU. And check out Lincoln Project. There's good people over there. Subscribe to them. Make sure you guys are subscribing to Nick and Frederic. You all are, obviously, that are in here. Subscribe to Banner and Backbone. Just support independent media. Support good people. Support.
Hold up, dude. Did you just tell me F you? That's what I heard. I think you
No.
just said F you. That's what I heard. Oh, wait, no, wait. You said NFU is what you said, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So where was that again? NFU?
Evan Fields NFU. You can find that
Evan
on
Fields
Twitter.
NFU. I'm gonna remember that. It's easy to
That's an
remember.
easy one to
It's Evan.
remember.
It's Evan telling the rest of the world FU. So it's Evan Fields NFU, right?
And
Support
FU.
independent media. Support regular people telling you the news. Okay,
Yep.
that's what I want you guys to remember.
Yeah.
I
And
appreciate
so,
you guys are awesome, and I love what you're doing and everything. And we're gonna have to figure out another time to do this again. And
Yeah, heck yeah,
I'm
man.
always here to
Heck
support
yeah.
you guys. And we're gonna have
And
to
I-
get you in touch with some of the Lincoln Square people too. Get you guys.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, we'd
Yeah.
love to do that. We want to spread what we're doing and the message we're doing because it's fits with you guys. We've talked to the folks on the Find Out podcast. We've had friends like Bobby Jones on the show. We've had Chris Goldsmith. We've had Fred Wellman. So we're Ken Harbaugh. So we're building a
Bobby.
big. We're,
we said Bobby Jones. Yeah.
yeah, Bobby's been back twice with us now.
Christopher
and
Goldsmith. We've had Christopher Goldsmith too.
That's a fun one. And then what I actually want to do is also invite you to come back and meet our other co-founder for not a vet talk, but for more of a civics talk
Yes.
around
Lawrence is awesome, dude.
Yeah, Lawrence Winterman he's our other co-founder. He's a writer. He's very civically minded. And he is proposing some very forward-thinking ideas around constitutional amendments and things that we could actually propose and be for that guarantee rights and bodily autonomy and ownership of ourselves and our data and forward thinking rights for a future America from what comes next. And I'd love to invite you to come and speak with Lawrence and at least Lawrence and maybe myself and even more, and have some discussions around that because that sounds like an area you would have a lot of expertise in too.
Yeah, man, that would be great. Like I said, I'm available anytime for you guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, this was awesome. I look forward to doing it again.
Yeah,
Dig it, man.
absolutely. Appreciate it, Evan. And thanks to everyone in the audience. Thanks to all 105 that are here right now or 100 plus. You guys are awesome. Please follow us on Banner and Backbone. Follow Lincoln Square. Follow Evan Fields. Follow all of his pieces. Frederic Poag. Support myself. But get this out there. Spread it. Share it. And that's how you get the message out. Is continue to spread and share it. So thanks everyone for coming. We'll see y'all again next week for another Vet Talk. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Have a good one, guys.
Take care.
All right.